I'm alone. Okay, what's up YouTube? It's me, Benjamin Jacobs. I'm back again with another video. Practically explaining that of how I started learning flips. So yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so the first thing of how I started learning flips, okay, we're gonna go all the way back to 2017. I was at school and we had first it was on a Wednesday and a Thursday. So 2017, which was years ago, I don't know, you guys do the math. It was about, yeah, during 2017, that's when I actually started getting into flips. Not really, but like that's when I started getting in like into the practicality of like doing like certain flips. So I'm gonna explain it to you. And so yeah, it was one Thursday afternoon. We were outside my class. I was like in fifth grade, waiting for the instructor to come that teaches us first aid. And so I was waiting. So my friend who were at the sand pit, and then he did like this, like almost like a round of cartwheel, like with like barely his hands touching. It was kind of like this. It was in a sand pit. It was about 3 feet high, and he did this. So it was kind of like that. So like it was almost like a cartwheel round of thingy, like into the. He was trying to barely like put his hands down. And so he was like, "Hey Penny, why don't you try it as well?" And so I was like, "Okay." And so I was like, "Hey!" And so like I actually didn't went for it. So this was the Wednesday, and so the Thursday, the next day, I was like, don't put the sand pit. And then I was like, let me try this again. And so I actually kind of did it the same thing he did with this round. Obviously, I went for a run up first, so I ran up and I just like did this like weird round of cartwheel, barely touching the hands, aerial front half thingy. And so from there, I actually did it for a couple of months. Like, me and my friend, we did that for a couple of months because I was like, hey, this is actually cool. And then one day, it was probably like it was the end of the year of 2017 when I actually landed on my feet. And so I ran up. I'm going to try and land this on my feet. I haven't done flips in a while, guys. So, Joe. Ah, ah. Yeah, so it was kind of like that, and I landed on my feet, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, how is it possible?" But yeah, that was the end of the year. But he actually landed on his feet before me. It was a couple of months earlier, and so yeah, I was like, "How is that even possible?" And then a couple of months later, I landed on my feet, and so this kind of went on to like 2019, start of 2020, and so. I was just bored and I was just on YouTube one day, and so I was like, let me search a side flip tutorial. And so I saw like this side flip tutorial of Ronnie street stunts, and I watched it and I was like, man, I want to do that. It did on flat ground. I was like so surprised. And so that's actually when like the whole like flip journey started on like grass and on flat ground. And so I just actually worked on it. I trained in my backyard. It was quarantine. It was 2020. It was actually the day before quarantine started, believe it or not, when I searched the tutorial up. And so, yeah, I just trained my flips after that. And so I started to learn other flips. The main flip I really did was like Webster's and side flips. I couldn't backflip or anything. I only landed my backflip like September 2020. It was later that year. I thought it would be like a long time before I actually like landed a backflip. A change of angles. So yeah, and so I just worked on it from there. I didn't do that, but the front half side, not side flip, whips the front half thing in my jiggy in like the foam pit. Started learning flat ground flips. I trained in my backyard. It was a sandy place, so I could actually train safely. And so like I just and then after a while I actually learned Webster and all the other flips. I only landed my first full backflip 360 in 2021, which was 2 years ago. Wow, that's insane. I landed my first full 2 years ago, and yeah, I actually want to explain how I actually like learned these flips now. So yeah, that's technically the backstory of how I started learning flips, like how I started getting into it, how I started learning it. So now we're gonna go on to the second step, which I was covering right now, of like how I like started learning all these flips. So yeah, let's go. Okay, so I'm actually gonna start off with a side flip. So a side flip was like how I learned the side flip wasn't really the correct way. I wouldn't say not the correct way, but I did not have, like, guys, when I started learning flips, and I am still doing flips, not really as much anymore, but I'm still doing flips. And when I learned flips, I never initially got access to like padding, trampoline to actually like get like over the few of these flips. I learned all of my flips on grass, on sand, and so yeah. And so I started learning side flip is I actually like learned the Webster side flip first, not really a gather step side flip. So this is kind of how my side flips used to look like when I first did them. They kind of look like that, and for the life of me, I've been doing that for a couple of months. It took me a couple of months to actually get my side flips correct. For the life of me, I could never like take off with both feet at once. I always used to kick this leg back, and that was my main problem when it comes to side flips. It lacked my height, and it only got me a few learning processes to actually get it. So yeah, that side flip. Then eventually after that, I learned punch side flip, and then I got gather step side flip. And yeah, and I never had access to a gym or anything, so that was the downside. So yeah, time to go move on to like the next flip that I learned. It's the same angle, I know. Okay, so the backflip, believe it or not, backflip is probably the easiest flip that I learned out of all the other flips, because I never initially progressed into a backflip. Like, you know how most people, like in most like backflip tutorials, they tell you should do a makaku and then slowly make it more and more inverted until you go completely backwards. But I could never figure that out. I could just never figure it out for the life of me also as well. Yeah, so again, just a reminder, I never had access to padding, I never had access to trampoline or any of that, or a spotter, nothing. I learned flips all by myself, with padding, without padding, with grass, and just with the sand pit. No trampoline, nothing. The first time I actually ever like trained flips on the trampoline was last year for my first time. And yeah. And so how I initially got backflip is I actually learned cheat gainer before I actually learned the backflip. So cheat gainer was actually one of my favorite flips to learn. It's to do. It's like a cool like, woo, do backflip with one leg, and then like it took me actually a couple of weeks to learn the cheat gainer, maybe about more than a month. I didn't get it completely backwards, but I actually managed to do like a proper cheat gainer, like gainer flash, like on my side, like on my opposite shoulder, so like this. And so I would just like initially just train the motion. I would just throw it to the side like this until I got it like upside down, well, not really like backwards, but just upside down. I know some people do cheat gainer like all the way straight back, but straight over the shoulder was always easier. So yeah, and so it was actually on the same day that when I wanted to try and commit to a backflip, like the same day when I actually landed my backflip, I actually did this cheat gainer where I landed with both feet, and when I tried to go as much backwards as I possibly could, so that it could limit the fear of me actually doing the backflip. So I would just try to do this. And so as you could see, this is how I learned to backflip, by the way, guys. So this was like my own really like method. I know some people like figure this out eventually. You don't have any trampoline or paddings like me, and if you just have grass, you just do this. Cheat gainer is an easy flip to learn. So get that down, and then initially just start to like make it backwards. If you want to learn a backflip, just progress the cheat gainer into like a swing backflip kind of legit. You don't have to go like all the way backwards. You can kind of look to the side a little bit, you know. So yeah, so that day I decided to just walk up So I watched the tutorial of Pigmie. He said that you can't initially do a standing backflip right away. You like kind of like do like a turn jump thingy into it. So like this.
Okay, I forgot to add this, but I'm sure you guys all probably aware of this. I'm a person that goes over my left side when I do a chucking backflip. So if you're someone that goes to the left, you would the second last step is your left leg, and so you would step on that left leg before you go into the jump to do the 180 and into the backflip. And so the second last step, you actually want to jump with both feet. You're gonna be on both feet as you go into that last step. You're gonna go and hop and pivot to the side where you're going to be doing your backflip over, and then just YOLO it from there.
So like that. So that actually made it a lot easier. I know for you guys learning backflip out there, it'll be a lot easier for you too. If you can't do it straight up standing, but like you don't have to do it like straight off the bat. If you have like cushion, a mattress, chuck it on that. Don't do it on grass, please. Don't wanna hurt yourself unless you're like confident and like you know that you potentially can do it. Then YOLO. So that's how I learned the backflip. Chi gainer to both with both feet. Chi gainer to the side, and then I slowly work on it. I don't do it immediately after I work chi gainer. I practice it for a couple of months until I get like used to it, like swinging my arms and that stuff. Land on both feet, try and go to the back as much as you possibly can while still looking over to the side. And yeah, that's technically all that took me to learn a backflip. And like yeah, I don't know what else to say. P-twist, on the other hand, that was actually a very traumatizing flip to learn. It is still traumatizing to this day. I actually forgot how I learned P-twist, but I initially learned P-kick and aerial and all of that, and so I got used to it eventually. Even though I always used to fall on my ass when I did it, I still fall on my ass sometimes. Like I'm just gonna do it for you now. It's looking good now because I want to make it look good for the video. Actually, well, not that I don't know. I initially forgot how I learned P-twist. But yeah, you just do like a 360 and then you slowly make it like more and more inverted. So this is technically how I got my B-twist cleaner. I'm sure you've seen this in some tutorials like Pigmie, go to Strict Lab on YouTube. Yeah, if you guys initially want to learn tricking, just go to Strict Lab. It'll help you a lot. Yeah, you need to pay for it. So yeah, and I just stepped in my phone. So yeah, you just started with a 360 when you want to learn a B twist. This is how I learned a B twist. Started with a 360, wrap your arms in, and then you initially want to use the spin step into the B twist. So you just turn there and then just do the 360. You turn that into a 540. Ah, and then you slowly make it more and more inverted. Ah, I don't know how to do it uninverted, so I apologize. But yeah, that's how I learned flips, and how I progressed from like learning the essential flips. If you guys want me to explain anything more, you have video ideas, let me know in the comments. And yeah, nothing much to say now. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Yeah, goodbye.